Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be episode 111 for you guys. Today, this will be a solo episode, just your host only. Of course, this episode will be coming out on all four of our platforms: our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So let's go ahead and dive into the first segment of episode 111. We'll be talking about the NBA in the world of basketball. I'll be sharing my top 5 trios in the NBA today. So everything that's going on transpiring through NBA free agency, these are the top 5 trios that I believe are the best big 3 trios in the NBA today. So at number 5, I have the Boston Celtics trio of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Chris Porzingis. And I think the only thing that I do not like about the Celtics acquiring Porzingis is that they had to trade away Marcus Smart, a former Defensive Player of the Year. Brought a lot to the Boston Celtics, was really the heart and soul of that team outside of their 2-star players in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Unfortunately, to get Porzingis from the Washington Wizards, they had to trade Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies in that big 3-team trade. I just have some question marks about that. I think Marcus Smart should have been stayed there or been put there. And I think he should have been there for what the Boston Celtics could one day accomplish and win a championship there in Boston. But nonetheless, he's gone. And I still have question marks about the Boston Celtics still not having a point guard to run their offense next season. That was actually a problem that the Boston Celtics had last year because Marcus Smart was really not capable of running an offense much longer for the Boston Celtics at point guard. They have Malcolm Brogdon. I think they should not mess that up. I think he's a good player to bring off the bench, won 6th Man of the Year. So they still have that big problem at the point guard position. But I do like the trio of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Porzingis heading into next season, especially if Porzingis stays healthy next season. Last year, he put together his best season of his career thus far with the Washington Wizards. I think he can contribute a lot playing alongside Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown if he's available and if he's on the court healthy next season. And then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will give you their offensive contributions to the court on a nightly basis. But Porzingis being there, that's a third threat. That's basically a third superstar playing alongside those two, and that gives them even more of edge with the front court duo of Porzingis and Al Horford in their starting lineup next year. So I do like Porzingis being alongside of Tatum and Brown. I think this makes them an obvious threat in the Eastern Conference next year. I like the trio. They're at number 5 for me. At number 4, I have the Phoenix Suns trio of Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. I believe this trio will make a lot of noise in the Western Conference regular season-wise. They will make a lot of noise. This trio will win a lot of regular season games next season, but I do believe that they will lock up at least the 3rd seed or higher in the Western Conference come playoff time next year, next spring, and the NBA playoffs. You have 3 dynamic scorers that can bring a lot to the table offensively on a nightly basis. Will have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal all in the starting lineup. All 3 of those players have the skill set. They have the opportunity when they get the ball in their hands to just take over the game offensively and never look back. So that's what you're going to get when those 3 players are on the court next year. But I'm still standing on my prediction. I don't believe that Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker are good enough to win an NBA title. There's still a lot of question marks about who's going to really run the point guard position. And right now, my pick is going to be Devin Booker. Frank Vogel is going to have Devin Booker to run the point guard. I just don't see it. Devin Booker is a guy that likes to score more than contribute offensively, just run the offense. So I think it's better. It's going to be a lot of problems. They still haven't cleared up their reasoning of what they're going to do on the bench. They have a lot of question marks. They still have the same problems that they had last year after they acquired Kevin Durant. Don't have a strong bench. You need a strong bench to go deep in the playoffs. But Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal are at number 4 for me. At number 3, I had the Milwaukee Bucks trio of Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. The Bucks, I will say, are very, very lucky that Chris Middleton decided to re-sign with the team on a new 3-year deal worth $102 million. Chris Middleton did back out of his of his NBA contract and looked like he was going to test the waters of NBA free agency, but decided to re-sign with the Milwaukee Bucks. Is going to be back there next year on a new 3-year, $102 million deal. But these three superstars, when Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday are on the court together, when they are on the court together when it matters most, they're the most dangerous team in the Eastern Conference. But over the last 2 years in the playoffs, we have not seen these three mainly be together come the playoffs. Middleton being out in the second round back in the 2022 playoffs when the Milwaukee Bucks matched up against the Boston Celtics. He really wasn't there throughout that entire series. In Game 7, in a pivotal game in Boston, the Boston Celtics blew out the Bucks back then in 2022. I think the series could have went a different way if Chris Middleton was available. He was not available. And then we saw during the playoffs this year, Giannis was hurt throughout the first 2 games when the first seeded Milwaukee Bucks played against the 8th seeded Miami Heat. Giannis was unable to be out there for his team for the first 2 games of the playoffs. That really hurt them and their momentum, because the momentum completely swung in the Miami Heat. In favor of the Miami Heat. So we haven't really seen this big three on the court together in quite some time when it matters most come playoff time. But the last time that they were together, the three of them won an NBA championship in the 2021 playoffs. I'm looking forward to seeing how well these three play together next year in the NBA season. They're number 3 on my trios list. And number 2, I have the Golden State Warriors trio of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. I'm really glad that Draymond Green decided to think about his decision and re-sign with the Golden State Warriors. I am happy to see that this dynasty will continue and live on for at least another season of the dynasty that Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steve Kerr all built together for the Golden State Warriors over the last decade. I'm looking forward to seeing the next chapter written in this dynasty out there in the Bay for the Golden State Warriors. And this trio has truly been the best trio in basketball over the last 10 years. It's not even a discussion. It's not even a debate of how special these three have been together. They won 4 titles. They've been to 6 total NBA finals. And finished back in the 2015-2016 season with the best regular season record in NBA history, winning 73 games and only losing 9 games. The trio of them will always be special in NBA history, and I think they're going to get back to being a championship contending team. I think they're going to fix their problems that they had as a road team next year. So I expect the Golden State Warriors to be a dynamic team, a contending team, and a team that's going to make a lot of noise in the Western Conference. That trio is number 2 to me. And at number 1, the Denver Nuggets trio of Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon, I do believe is the best trio currently in the NBA. The trio just won the NBA title this NBA season, helping the Denver Nuggets win their first NBA title in franchise history. This trio deserves to be number 1 on my list. The trio of Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon looked unstoppable throughout the playoffs, made it look easy. They swept the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers on their quest to get to the NBA Finals. And overall in the playoffs, when they matched up against the Timberwolves, the Phoenix Suns, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Miami Heat, all those teams are pretty good in their own right. Well, minus the Minnesota Timberwolves. But those 3 caliber teams are all good in their own right. And throughout that stretch of the first round all the way to the NBA Finals, the Nuggets went 16-3 in the playoffs this NBA season, this past NBA season. And they've won the finals. The gentlemen swept the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. So I already raved on this podcast. If you guys follow the podcast, you guys are new to the podcast, I always rave about that unstoppable pick and roll game that Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray bring to the table. And you add Aaron Gordon to the mix. That's someone that brings a lot of size, can score in the paint, is a good defender as well. The Denver Nuggets have a recipe to be one of the best teams in the NBA and the best team in the Western Conference for quite some time. They actually have a recipe to even repeat as NBA champions heading into next season. But I like these trios. Those are my top 5 NBA trios currently today in the NBA world in the sport of basketball.